What going on, y'all? This is Low.
This is Key, and we're Low Key. So today we're going to talk about how to bounce back from a crisis. I think it's very important that we know and we understand how to do that. And who better than us to tell you how to do that, or to give you some pointers. We're not telling you what to do, but just to give you some pointers on things that you can do to bounce back. So one of the first things you must do is you have to acknowledge where you went wrong.
Major.
You know, you gotta acknowledge you messed up, and you have to take accountability. So that's acknowledge and then take accountability. And then I think the next step to do is to create a plan to get yourself out of that situation. And it has to be a defined productive plan. You can't just put something together, just hoping that something changes. You have to have a definite end, and you have to know what it takes to get there. And you must, of course, you have a starting point because you failed. That would be your starting point to start over. And let me be clear about it. Failing, people look at that as a negative thing. That's not always a negative thing, not to me. Failing can be a good thing if you can take nothing and turn it into something.
That's
it is
real.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. You can start from the bottom, from the ground, and build and keep it moving, And then people will look at you and they once counted you out, but when they see what you have done, how far you have grown, then they can see, you are that one, What you think?
I think you are very much correct. And I think the first part, the bouncing back from crisis, is definitely acknowledgement. But I also think the first step is where 99% of humans are unable to complete. That's where they get stuck at.
What you mean?
Acknowledging their wrongdoing in the situation.
Why is that hard to do?
I think it could be ego. And I think it's definitely, y'all can refer back to one of our old videos, like being a victim.
Big one.
You could be blaming other people without even thinking about it. Because that's how much you end up blaming other people, and you're not acknowledging what part you played in the position you in. No matter what position you in, you should start from what could I have done different.
Oh, that's deep.
And then also when climbing out is what can I do different? Not what this person should do, that person should do, or not what that person should have did. If he ain't do that for me, if she ain't do that for me, you gotta start from, I could have did this better.
Big.
It won't that person fault that I ended up here, because we come from the Creator. How can one person make it out of a certain situation and another person can't? Same circumstance, same type of people, same upbringing. Why is that? It's the perception of the world and your ability to acknowledge where you are, and your ability to acknowledge what it takes to come out of a situation.
I agree. I think we could get so lost in, because it's easy to blame other people.
Real easy.
It's easy to do that, and it's harder to accept what you've done to make the situation the way that it is, because we create our reality. We are creators. So I think when you have a hard time acknowledging, like my husband said, you stop yourself from even getting to the next step, because you haven't acknowledged the part you played in. And a lot of people feel they can't do anything wrong, But I'm here to tell you, like, if you don't get out of that mentality, you will always be in the position that you in. You will always be coming out less than. You will always be looked at as the person pointing the finger all the time.
Yeah.
For a prime example, I was thinking about how two kids can play together, right? And then one gets mad because of the other. And then when they come and try to explain what's going, okay, so you got two toddlers. Now this is just by nature, by default, what you taught your kids. Like, what? Just listen. Two kids playing, right? They're playing. They having a good time, enjoying, just laughing, and next thing you know, one gets mad and hit the other. You playing too rough, and then the other one cries. And so then after that one cries, you as the parent or you as the person that's watching over these kids, you come to them and you say, what happened? Oh, he did that to me. If he hadn't did that to me, I wouldn't have hit him. Or she did that to me. It's like pointing the finger. But those are kids. They have to be taught. But when you become an adult, like, you know what you did in the situation. You know that you should have paid your bills, but you went out shopping. You know that you should have went to work because you have already signed a contract with these people and they're looking for you and you didn't want to go, so you didn't go.
So
you know what you did. You know that one thing that I noticed in marriages or in relationships, people have a tendency of blaming the other partner for them cheating and not taking full accountability for their actions. You know that cheating is wrong. You know that. But you made a decision because of your perception of your marriage from the perception of how you view yourself, because it's a direct reflection of who you are.
That's real.
And your significant other. So you know what you did. You know, you can't sit there and blame your wife because you then cheated with a woman. Like, you can't do that. You done had sex with another woman and you want to blame her for it. No, or
So
vice versa.
Yeah,
Or if my wife was a little bit skinnier, or if my wife, put that little sexy stuff on, I wouldn't be out here looking at nobody else. No, that's your problem. You got an issue. And if it's a problem in the beginning, I feel like you should talk about it. It's so easy to just say it. Like, just say it. And before you say things, segment in 10. You gotta think about the outcome before it happens. Because if you're thinking negative, oh, he ain't gonna do nothing but start tripping, or she ain't gonna do nothing but start tripping, thinking I'm already doing something when I'm not doing nothing. No, that's not true. That's not necessarily true. But if you already picture her doing it or picture him doing that, that's what's gonna happen, because you're creating that.
That's
it. So take accountability, you guys. Like, come on,
it's
stop
just
being
one step. Like, it's hard to see the solution when you don't acknowledge the part that you play in it. Because 9 times out of 10, once you acknowledge truly and you stand on that, the solution is what the problem was, the opposite of it.
Wow, that's
every
deep.
energy in the universe, like, for every action, it's an equal and opposite reaction. So when you make acknowledgement of why you ended up in the position you in, and you stand on it, you sit in it, the solution is in your acknowledgement.
Wow.
Just vice versa.
Y'all really ponder that, because that's deep. That's real. That's real. Like, that's a wise thing to say, because a lot of people don't even understand. Like,
yeah. Everything else will come after you acknowledge it, and you start taking progressive action. It'll come. You'll find your way. I don't know how these things work, but it's real.
Yeah.
Because we know firsthand.
Yeah, we know from experience, you guys. We really do. And I feel like if you are trying to bounce back from a terrible and difficult, what you think is difficult is not difficult. You just have to take the time to just sit down and think about it. Just think about it, acknowledge it. Don't blame anybody else. Look at yourself. you know? And if it was on the strength of what somebody else did, why was it? Like, did you give them that power? Did you give them that power to decide for you in your life?
That's major.
And then it always comes back to you if you did. So
It still come back to you. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
It still come right back to you.
Absolutely.
But we gonna tap in with y'all on the next one. I'm Low.
I'm Key.
And this Low Key.
All right.
Like, comment,
And subscribe.
I'll holla at y'all.
Peace.